Houston, we have a problem. So, hello, if you're new, I'm Jessica, and I wanted to just do a really quick intro before getting into the disgusting gnat infestation. But I wanted to tell you just a couple things that, number one, I am a newer houseplant lover. I've had plants for years and years, but I've only recently been actually learning about them. Two, this is the first time I've ever even had any type of infestation of any type of bugs. And I know it's not the worst bugs that you can get, but when it's your first, it's just not fun. And this is beyond anything that I've ever seen anyone talk about when it comes to gnats. So it's gonna be gross, so just hold on there. And then I guess the third thing is I'm gonna do an update in about 5 days. I know that the products that I've used in this video to get rid of the situation and hopefully not cause any further damage or grossness to my plants, I've been using those things for a while, and I know that they work really well because I've always had like a few gnats here and there. So I wanted to just show you those, and I'll have them linked below if you want to check those out. And then I'm just going to take you through, I filmed on a whim because I thought maybe this would be helpful to someone. So let's get into the things that I love, and then we'll get into the whole situation. So these are the products that I used. This was the first one that I used when I first noticed the gnat problem. It did kill them on contact, and then I did also a treatment, and I sprayed all of the plants that were in my room near the affected plants. I think I did narrow it down. You'll see in the video which plants I were causing the huge problem. I have been using mosquito bits for a very long time, and it definitely keeps gnats under control. So I'll be using these probably for the next few waters on my plants because I know that this works. So if I did get any more eggs or larvae in any of my other plants, that should keep that on, that should keep that under control. And then these are great for keeping any of the adult gnats off your plants, and it just catches them. It's just a sticky tape. And then I'm going to also be using Super Thrive, which I love. It's just like a vitamin for your water, but when I'm going to be doing all of these things, I feel like they need some extra love. So this is great, and you can use this at all times. And then this Catchy, it's a little machine that basically attracts any type of flies and catches them in there. Okay, enough talking. Let's get into the situation so you can see how I took care of it. So we have a problem, and Arlo happened to see over here that there are a ton of gnats. I'm certain that's what they are. They don't seem to be like too much on these plants. I'm gonna move these in a minute. So I wasn't sure where the heck they're what they're coming from. Hans, actually my husband, just recently cleaned off our awning, and we had the window open here, so I thought maybe something like that. But then I came over here and see that they're all over the wall, all in this pot right here, and I don't really think in this one. So to me it looks like they're coming from this soil, which I recently repotted these probably a few weeks ago, and I actually used a potting soil that I don't normally use, and I thought it smelled a little off, but then I looked through it. I was like, I think it looks fine, kind of thing. And so I'm curious if that's where it's coming from, because there are just hundreds. This is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. So we're gonna go, I'm just taking this outside. I don't care about this plant that much. And start cleaning up. Luckily I don't have too many plants up here, but I do have a few over here. So I'm gonna start by spraying all of the surrounding areas, but look, I just did one wipe and there's this many. Yeah, it definitely, I'm certain it's coming from this soil, because if we come over here, they are at the windowsill, and I'm just so disgusted right now.
And they are just flying right in our house.
But I would say, I know they're just gnats, but I think I'm gonna probably treat, please don't do that, Arlo, all of these. Although I could use, maybe I will just use mosquito bits. I don't know. Okay, little update. I'm just cleaning the windowsill. I don't know if they're trying to escape or going to the light. I'm not sure. You can just see I've never seen this many gnats before. I'm starting by just using this just to kill them on contact. And then the plants that were in my room, again, luckily not too many. I'm deciding if I want to use this. I might. I probably will, just to get rid of them. And then I think I will just keep them here, because I did realize that it definitely came from that plant that I showed earlier, because I remember that I got that from outside. So I'm guessing, I don't know, not exactly sure. It was either from the soil, which luckily I just used on those 2 plants because it was a smaller bag, or it was because those pots were outside, had been outside for a while, and I probably didn't do a good job at cleaning them. So since I repotted these together, used the same soil, although I'm certain the other plant, the planter, had been outside for a while, so I'm kind of leaning towards that. Either way, I'm still going to take this outside, repot this. I think it's in too big of a pot anyways. I use new soil, completely clean it off, and I don't know, isolate it, I suppose. And then these are the plants that were all upstairs. So like I said, it wasn't many. Of course, to some people, this probably looks like a lot, but luckily it wasn't too many. I have them in the bathroom. They're all getting a shower. I have the insecticidal super soap that I'm just going to go ahead and clean them all off with this. And then the next thing I'm going to do is when I water these plants the next few times, I'm going to be using mosquito bits. And what I do is take a big thing of warm water. I just put some in there. This is probably like an eighth of a cup of mosquito bits. You let it soak, and then you're going to strain this and just use that water to go ahead and water the plants. And I'll water all of these plants probably the next 3 times with the mosquito bit water solution. That way, if there are any gnat larvae or gnats in this soil now, since these were all upstairs, that should combat it. And then the next thing that I'm using are these. They're not cute, I don't think, but they are basically just sticky on both sides, and they do catch any gnats. I've had this in here now for maybe an hour, and I don't see any live gnats. I've probably killed them all with the Captain Jack's insecticidal soap, but that will help get any of the adults at least. And so I guess now I'm just worried if there's going to be any eggs that were laid. This was not like this last night when I went to bed, so somehow it had just erupted overnight. So it shows you how quick that can happen. And I'm sad that these were upstairs, because these are some that I just got from a friend, and I was keeping them on their own shelf as well, just because I always do that with new plants. So I just hope. Gnats are not the end of the world, but they are disgusting, and I've just never seen that many. So that's going to be it for this video. I don't know if it will be helpful to anyone. Honestly, it's quite embarrassing to even show this. Like, I know everyone deals with bugs though, and so I want anyone who might be dealing with it to just know that it can happen to anyone. It doesn't matter how careful you are. I should have been way more careful with using an old pot that had been outside, or I was suspicious about that soil. Luckily, I just used it in those 2 big planters. So it was either the soil or the pot, but I think since the one was just affected, it was that pot. We'll go check on that pot real quick to see what it's doing now, although I did heavily spray it and I put it outside because I don't care enough to keep that plant, but we'll see. So update again, these are the 2 pots that I was suspicious about. I mean, this soil doesn't even look good. I probably should have been, these are not like my most favorite plants, although I love them, but I probably haven't given them as much care as I do some of my plants, and so maybe I would have noticed something going on had I. but this is the one where this pot had been outside for probably a year, and I reused this one, and I did rinse it out, but I definitely didn't give it as good of a cleaning as I should have. So I'm kind of wondering, so I doused this in the insecticidal spray, and it does kill gnats like instantly, pretty much. And now that it's been outside for an hour, you can see that there's still so many more. So it has to be from this one, and this plant also hasn't had that much good growth or anything, so I'm wondering. Yeah. I do know that since these were in my room, I am certain that this just happened overnight, so I don't know if just a bunch of eggs hatched. I'm not sure. There are a bunch in here too, but this one is just like way more. Well, okay, that's about it. Gross. And if you are curious what I'm gonna do with these two plants, I'm just gonna go ahead, take them out of the soil completely rinse them off. And there's a hummingbird. And probably just put them in water for a little bit. I want to get rid of this soil immediately, and so that's what I'm gonna do. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm not an expert, but that's just what I'm gonna do here. If you want an update, I will mention it in a future video.